Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 249 of Optimal Living Advice, the podcast where we take any questions you might have about the many struggles of life and get them answered for you here on the show. I am your host, certified life coach Greg Audino, reminding you before we begin that if you have a question you would like help with on the show, we welcome you to email it to us at advice@oldpodcast.com. Now, we've got another longer one on tap today, everybody. Glad to have you with me for this episode as we take a look at a question from someone who is having a hard time setting boundaries with loved ones, especially as the seasons of life change and our asker themselves feel quite different from who they were in the past. Sounds as if they've made great progress, as you will see, but is it being stifled by their inability to express these changes to their friends and family? Well, let's try and help them celebrate who they are and maybe get to the root of why it's been hard for them to do so. Here's the question. I struggle a lot with anxiety, control, and perfectionism, despite being very familiar with helpful tools for coping, meditating, breathing, yoga, fitness, reading, faith, and tons of other healthy outlets. It's still a battle I constantly have to fight away. One thing I still notice as a major trigger is how to navigate my evolving relationships with family and friends. As we grow into the people we want to become, it's a struggle to set new boundaries that convey to people that who we are now may be different than who we were before. For example, my family has presented as a healthy, close unit my entire life. But when you dig down into it, a lot of what I grew up around was passive-aggressive behavior that I really want to separate myself from as an adult. It's hard to be around it while maintaining my emotional security and growth. In regards to friends, I just don't have the time. Even a text conversation is not something I desire to have because it distracts me from being present with my kiddos, my gym workout, my reading time, my work, etc. I care about all of these people greatly, but I have new boundaries in my life that I need to set as a result of who I am becoming. But how do I even start or present that without offense or guilt? Okay, thanks for sending this in, Asker. Yeah, there's a lot here, but to me, most of it seems to be linked, and I think you're closer to having more comfort with this situation than you may think you are. Those boundaries are going to be important, you're right, they just are. But let's break down why that is and how to be at peace with setting them, because knowing they're important and actually setting them, there's going to be a gap between those two. So, obviously, all I know is what you've sent me, but I would guess that you are falling back into old family patterns and bringing them into your life as an adult now, as many of us tend to do. You talk about participating in this seemingly nice family unit that really only offered passive aggression should you stray from that image. It is possible that you're assuming you'd be met with the same passive aggression from family and friends should you choose to express the version of yourself that you actually want to be now. It feels like it could very much be the same plight just as an adult. But that's the thing, you are an adult now. Even if you would be met with the same passive aggression, so what? What power do they have over you? Based on your description of your situation and of yourself as a perfectionist, well, it sounds to me like you're trying to be more perfect for your friends and your family than you are for yourself. I say that because you've laid out pretty confidently the things that you'd like to do, and you seem to do a lot of work in cultivating the person you'd like to be, yet you won't allow yourself to create boundaries that give that version of you a chance to breathe. You've described the stress of being who you are as derivative from others' opinions of you, not your own opinion of you. You seem ready to set these boundaries, but it is other people who are stopping you, or at least your idea of how your boundary setting would be met by others that is stopping you. So maybe I'm assuming too much, but again, it's this idea I'm seeing of, unless I'm perfect for my loved ones, I will be met with passive aggression. And that is where an unhealthy need for control creeps in. Feeling trapped unless you can manipulate others to accept your boundaries. This is where the work is going to come in for you. This is the most important part. Releasing the need to take responsibility for other people's feelings. You are absolutely right in saying that boundaries need to be set. Stop thinking about the response to setting them and just set them and let that be that. You can't control how they react, and vice versa, you mustn't allow their reactions to control you, which is what's happening right now. You saying that it's hard to be around the family dynamic while maintaining your emotional security and growth is completely disempowering yourself. You're allowing them to control you, yet you're also trying to gain control back from them. But it's your job to reclaim control over just your own feelings, not theirs too. This is only done by setting the boundaries you want to set, communicating what you need to communicate, and understanding that real growth is going to come from coexisting with whatever reactions are thrown at you, rather than trying to order them yourself in such a way that feels easier. So with that being said, the practical advice I would offer you on regaining control in a healthy and efficient way would look something like this. Consider how much you want to see family and friends and plan it in advance. I know you still care for these people, so control your time and make plans with them maybe a week in advance during a time that you know you might have free. Or even a time that you think someone could join you in something that occupies your schedule, like inviting a friend who likes working out to go to the gym with you. And if you can turn these types of interactions into routines, even better. You won't have to stress yourself out thinking up new plans or new free time slots too often. And not to mention, creating routines with people is a subtle but clear sign of devotion. Deliberately making time for people will remind both of you of how the relationships are not lost. And if you want to church it up a little bit more and be extra reassuring, well, I would do the same thing, so I'm not going to stop you. You can tell them that this is just the easiest means of getting together for you given all that you have going on in your life. You can tell them that you're going through changes, you're entertaining new priorities, but you do still care, and therefore you want to make sure you make time for those people. My bet is that most of your friends or closely aged family members are probably going through similar stages, and also that older family has already gone through these stages that you're going through. So they could very well understand better than you assume they will. But again, even if they don't, that is their problem. It's not yours. You can rest assured that you did your part and respected your relationship with others as well as your relationship with yourself. This is something to remind yourself of should an argument ensue, or if you were to get shamed for whatever reason, like you might have when you were younger. Of course, you can then have follow-up conversations to try to understand one another better and find compromises if you'd like to, but you did right by yourself. And that is particularly important for you to do that now and in the future. Thanks a lot for sending in this great question, Asker. I really hope this helped and that you can walk away with not only more clarity, but also some faith in how to make boundary setting work for you. And for other listeners who are having trouble setting boundaries, same goes for you. Boundary setting is not just boundary setting. Think about how to customize it in a way that works for you, works for your communication style, what you want from others, and the boundaries themselves that you're trying to enforce. Boundary setting can be as unique a process as you want it to be, but it doesn't have to be a sit down with someone and laying down the hammer on what will and won't be allowed. That can be stressful to think about it that way. Open your mind to what it can be, get creative, and see what follows. And if you've got questions about how to do that, well, you know where to find me. That's it for this one, though, ladies and gents. Thanks for being here today, and I am wishing you the best of luck out there until our next episode on Wednesday. I'll talk to you then.